Bastards of Blasphemy.
Freebird. Coming to you not quite live, Peanut Day Studios, a Bad Day Drukers production. I am Sascha Saintevic. With me is Briano Hawk. Briano, what's up?
What's up?
Feeling good?
Yeah.
We just got back from watching Deadpool, huh? Yeah. Well, just got back. We watched it like a few days ago, but
yeah. It's
close enough. So funny. We've got all our puns and sarcastic banter ready. It's today's a day that means nothing to us. It's Grammys. It's Grammy night tonight. We're not going to talk about who wins, who doesn't win. I actually don't pay attention to the categories, and I wanted to bring that up to you. A lot of musicians, not a lot of musicians, some musicians, a couple of musicians, really egotistical musicians, really care about whether or not they win, best original soundtrack in some shitty indie movie or not, or any other category on the Grammys. And they seem to think that they're valued by that. Now, I've never met anybody who ever starts listing off, I like a musician because they won this award. And I know there's also some controversy right now with the Academy Awards. People are boycotting it because they don't feel it's representative of every demographic, this or that. So we can touch on that too if you want.
They're like George Bush. Hey,
really? That's such a long throwback. No one's going to even understand what the hell you're talking about.
Okay, sorry.
No one's going to get that. Bow your head. In shame. What I want to bring up is Grammys, award shows, things like that. Particular music, but any form of entertainment. Did it really mean anything? I mean, does anybody really care who wins, who doesn't win? Is it all a popularity contest? Is it a representative of anything? Because you can, there's always a list of musicians who never won a Grammy, Hendrix, Queen, things like that. People, legendary musicians like that. And then you can have a list of musicians who won a Grammy who you'd be hard pressed to even remember a single song other than whatever their one-hit wonder was.
Yeah.
So is it all just hype? Do you think, is there any merit to this? What's the point? Why are we still pretending that this means anything?
I actually don't know. I mean, I've never really followed the Grammys. I know an artist just trying to sell a new album or whatever. A lot of times it'll be like Grammy winning, whatever, blah blah blah, like Taylor Swift or whatever. And I think it's more of a selling point for musicians, or at least the record labels, to push their artist, or just say, push the album that the artist is representing or putting out, because other than that they don't really say much, music wise. They say, oh yeah, Grammy Award winning, blah blah blah, or this and that, and then that's what they first say, and then they it's the artist, or 3-time nominated. Whatever, everyone gets nominated at least once. The Simpsons, hell, how many have they got nominated and won? And they actually make fun of it the whole time.
Yeah, they made fun of it a couple of times. Where there was an episode where they had Behind the Laughter, which is a sort of a spoof from Behind the Music, and they were like Simpsons win a Grammy with Simpsons Christmas Boogie, and Ozzy's like, what? And bites off the little megaphone thing on the Grammy Awards, in protest.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, the Grammys are, right, like most musicians, I think, or a lot of musicians think, and other people who do music, kind of a joke. It's, I'll reference The Simpsons again. They make that whole reference constantly that, it's not an award at all. It's like, oh, well, you have this many Grammys. It's like, yeah, but I want an award that actually means something, And so, yeah, I kind of agree with
MTV Movie Awards soundtrack.
But yeah, I kind of agree with some of the musicians and how they do their stuff, or not their stuff, but their ideal of what the Grammys are, in a sense.
I think there's some merit to it, and this is some of the response that people have said about the people who get all bent out of shape by the Academy Award. It's not; these awards aren't really for us, the public. It's a sort of a very enclosed thing for people who are in that particular industry. Academy Award people who are movies, Grammys for people who are in the music industry. Although, like I said, it's kind of a joke within the music industry. So it's sort of like their own award ceremony for themselves, and they just put a camera there, and the rest of us could see what's going on. But maybe the public just doesn't care as much, or we mainly don't care. They say like, well, the ratings are high enough. I think there are more people listening and downloading music right now than there are people watching the Grammys. Like, I don't ever hear anybody say like, well, you know what happened in the Grammys? Like, nobody cares unless it becomes like a meme, like Kanye West goes nuts because he didn't win something. And I think he is the embodiment of somebody who really does give a shit about that, but that's because he is somebody who is lost in his own head because he's not smart enough to be anywhere else. He's just not. Like, as much as he think he like goes on these stupid narcissistic publicity stunts, which is all that the Grammys, from what you seem saying, serve as the publicity stunt. Later on, you get to put I won a Grammy, 5-time Grammy Award nominated.
Yeah. I mean, I think at one point, maybe way back when,
it
actually meant something. People saw it as, hey, they're getting appreciated for doing a good album, or putting out good music or whatever. But nowadays, it's all cookie cutter. It's all the same thing. And so a Grammy doesn't really mean anything, I
mean, when you have an award like best year, breakout year, debut, that's somebody who pretty much has been doing it for a year or so.
Yeah,
or at least someone that's been
best,
big.
Best new artist, best breakout song or whatever. And it's
we're going to judge you based on that one song.
It's not necessarily always a new artist. It's an artist that's been around for a bit, or a couple of years or whatever. But it's their first year really being big, and that's what it's like, best new artist or best whatever. And it's kind of silly. I mean, they should have a category in a sense, I guess. Since they do awards, they should have that category of best new artist, but actually have it as not. You're getting a Grammy for the most popular song. It's someone who's come into the industry and he's like working his ass off to do it, or her.
How would
whatever.
you judge that though?
And like the representation of what they've done is music wise, but it's not like, oh well, they've had the most hit song here. They've had the most publicity. It's like, no, they've done the most for the music industry in a sense of like promoting music, doing tours, doing everything as much as possible, because all those up and comers or best new artists or whatever are people who are like pop artists who've been pretty much had everything written for them, and all they do is just come in, do a voice over of someone else's track pretty much, and then they're like, oh well, this is the most popular person here, so we're gonna give them the new best new whatever, like I don't know, Taylor Swift. I keep going with that. She was like the best.
She's the first one to pop up in your head.
she was the best.
She's a
new
very
artist,
prominent one right
whatever. But yeah, she's very prominent. She's all that.
Well,
but that's the thing is, I mean, I think they should change the way, if they, if anything, they should change the way they actually do the awards and do representations of it, because it's pretty cookie cutter now, and it's pretty stupid.
But it would be so like, who is it that you're really honoring, representing? Because if it's to represent the people who make the music industry, make music great, it's usually people you never get to see who make that possible. Who produced the track, who mixed it, who put it together, who wrote the songs. Some bands write their own songs, many bands don't write their own songs.
Oh yeah.
They're honoring the people who sing it, give it to life, and we're saying that's the epitome of what makes good music. But there's a lot that goes into making an album great that you don't get to see. That's behind the scenes. So, and I don't know, like, would it be more true to the art form if they honor those people that you've never heard of?
I think they do kind of have like producers and stuff like that.
Well, they think
whatever,
they're producers when they win.
No, I think there is like a Grammy producer, award-winning producers and stuff like that. There are those awards, but I don't know of anyone. I can't name anyone off the top of my head. There's hardly anybody I think who can, other than if you're part of the Grammys or you're like really, really follow the music industry and you're stalking what the Grammys are doing and stuff like that. Yeah, I think maybe you can like Grammys. Say, oh yeah, this producer, has an award and stuff like that. I mean, they can have like producer of a soundtrack or whatever, like Trent Reznor has for what is it, that Facebook movie thing?
Social Network?
Social Network, which he did he did all the songs for. He did the soundtrack of it. So yeah, he could have a Grammy for that, for like producing the music for that and his productions and blah blah blah.
Right,
Or,
but he's getting it though because he is a more well known.
Yeah, he's more well known and stuff like that. Or Tim Burton's favorite, producer. He has stuff because he's more well known. He's been out there and whatever. And so yeah, I think they have those, but it's people who are more heard of and been out there in the industry. It's not like the random nobody who's just like happened to have an album that got famous or got the artist known, or somewhat known. It's like, oh well, this producer is like, no. If the artist is like forgetful, if they're too nervous or whatever, and they don't name the producer or someone who helped them, that producer doesn't get anything. They're like, oh crap, well, it's like, what the hell? I did all the work. I helped you. I coached you through everything, but I got nothing. And it's not that the artist. It's not the artist's fault, but I mean, there's no real thing that's gonna push for the producers of the albums.
Well, I mean, but as far as like promoting a producer, as far as promoting anybody that goes to the backstage of the, works in the back scenes of it, it's really more of an inside industry thing. I mean, the people who do the good work are going to promote each other.
Oh yeah,
behind the scenes, and that's how they get work. That's how they get promoted. They don't really need the Grammys, though. In some sense, you don't need an award.
No.
That wouldn't mean anything to them.
No, that's the thing is, I'm not saying they need to have a Grammy for it or anything. It's just, I mean, the way they push the artists and how it drives record sales for certain artists. It would, in a sense, drive more work towards the producer if they have like, oh well, this producer has this many Grammys for helping out these artists and doing these records, and this guy's really good at what he does. Yeah, it's better for to have word of mouth and have people telling their artists to go to you to do your stuff than have a Grammy. But still, it would help out because people who don't know you or you're not very well known, you will get known for it.
Well, that's the thing I always wonder with something that confuses me, like whenever these award shows come on, it's sort of like they say it gives them exposure. Partly it's a publicity thing. It promotes moves. But switching to the Academy Awards for a second, and this is, I think it's it also can be generalized to the Grammys. A lot of the movies, for the few times I've seen the Academy Awards, a lot of the movies that they show, promote, I've never even heard of. Like they'll promote things that they think are like, oh, this is a very artsy representation. It's a deep, whatever, best cinema can produce. But a lot has like with a few notable sections, but a lot of movies I'm like, okay, well that sounds really boring. I never want to see that. Ever. And the things that I want to see, like I don't think like Deadpool is going to win an Academy Award. But it was a fun movie. It was an entertaining, good movie. It doesn't matter that it's not that it didn't win. That's not going to even be nominated for anything. Whereas DiCaprio is going to be nominated a billion times. He's never going to win anything because that's the running joke.
I mean, that is.
If he didn't win for Django Unchained, he will not win for anything.
Yeah, for what is it, Monsieur Candy?
Yeah.
I mean, the one scene alone in that movie where he cuts his hand and stuff, that actually happened. He should have won just for that. I mean, that was amazing. He put everything into it, and he does that for most of his or all of his movies. But he like cuts his hand. He actually ended up having to get stitches in his hand, and he just goes through it, does his smears his blood on what's her face. And I think she gets more nominated for it when he's the one who got hurt and struggling and through the pain and putting all that pain into his character.
But so pretty much our whole point of this is you screwed up, Oscar. So that's a tangent.
And it's not like the whole racist. They're racist. It's no. They're if anything, they're racist against Leonardo DiCaprio. If anything, screw they're racist against black people. And they're racist against white people too. Because how many times has DiCaprio been on the nominations, and how many times has he won?
Yeah, but None. Will Smith did not get nominated for concussion, so screw you, Klansman. But let's go back to the Grammys. If the Grammys are about promoting better music or giving exposure to whatever artists, I don't think it really works because I couldn't care less who wins the award. I don't know anybody who cares less. That's like maybe it's more about the thing like enclosed within themselves. Like this is us to honor our own. But if that's the case, why in the world do the musicians care so much about that? Doesn't matter. It doesn't affect. I don't think it affects the sales as much. It might affect whatever the street cred amongst each other.
I think what it is, it's not all musicians. Like I was stating, like a lot of them think it's a joke. You know, they'll make fun of it. They'll go up there. They'll just like, oh, hey, I won. Cool, whatever. They don't thank whoever, blah, blah, blah. And I think the ones that really care most about it are like the pop artists and the rap artists and the ones that are like in the spotlight the most, you know? And so if they don't win, they think, oh, well, it's a hit at myself and I'm taking it personal and, you know, you guys suck and blah, blah, blah. I mean, look at like Foo Fighters or something. If they win, you know, they get nominated, they're like, cool. They don't win. They're like, well, okay, whatever. You know, Jimi Hendrix, who never got one, or I don't think even nominated or whatever. Never. It doesn't seem, I don't remember reading or hearing interviews where he was upset about anything. He was just like, okay, whatever. I know what I'm doing. People see him as one of the greatest guitar players, and it's Hendrix. That's what they say, you know? And it's like he never got nominated or got one, so what the hell? They didn't even give it to matter.
They didn't even give it to Queen as Freddie Mercury was dying.
Yeah.
That seems a little shitty.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like it doesn't seem to care for some of the artists.
But I mean, if you're already famous and if you're already well established, it's not are you gonna care whether you get a trophy? Like maybe it's to stroke your ego a little bit, but you know, like get recognition by your peers. You know, getting the, you know, when you're in middle school and they give you the attendance certificate. You didn't do well in school, but then when you get the attendance award because you were here every time, just being adequate.
Yeah. That's kind of. I think that's what a lot of people see it as. Actually, that reference that you just made. A lot of like musicians, or even The Simpsons, like I keep going to. I think they kind of see it that way because it's like the attendance award. All it means is you're the loser who was there every single day of your life, who, you know, did whatever you had to do to go in. You'd go in sick and get other people sick so they couldn't be there. You know, and you're the malicious one to you know, be there all the time because you're trying to get everyone else sick, and just to get that one award that doesn't mean crap other than like if you don't miss 1 day of school your whole freaking life in high school, then you get a scholarship for that. That sucks. You know, it's like you could do crap all freaking school years, and as long as you showed up, you can get a scholarship for it. And people who work their ass off.
Well, you have to pass.
And no, but I mean, they can just be minimal, you know, get C's and they still get a freaking whatever. And those who like work their ass off and you know, try to get A's and B's, try to get straight A's, whatever, doing all their stuff. And then they try for the scholarship and they don't get it because they missed too many days of school, or, you know, they just didn't have a high enough GPA or whatever the hell it is. And that asshole who has a, you know, C average, didn't miss a day of class, gets, you know, scholarship. That's kind of messed up.
You're still upset about that, the B- you got in geometry, aren't you?
Shut up.
You're still upset about that. That teacher was a bitch, though, wasn't she? She just would not give that to you on your perfect record.
But then, you know, we're going off on tangent. All right, at least I'm going off on a tangent. But the thing is, I mean, that's kind of what I see, the Grammys or whatever. You know, most awards, you know, like it's like that, you know, high school again, where you work your ass off, or you don't even try and you get rewarded stuff like football players, or sports people. They get scholarships just for being certain height or being, you know, doing well in the sports, but not so well in the school. You know, that's kind of like what it is. It's like these people are doing well enough to emulate what the other people wrote on songs wise, and they're just, you know, being the puppet, and they're doing the better job of being a puppet than those who are working their ass off, you know, slaving away, doing, you know, a tour 359 days a year, you know, and then barely seeing their family or whatever the hell, and then they don't get anything from it, but they've worked their ass off the whole time to do it. But because they don't have a pop genre, or they don't have the right look or sound or whatever, they get screwed, or, you know, just not even nominated or heard about because, you know, it's just not what people or the big wigs in music want you to hear. Or see.
It's not a controversial statement for us to come on and just simply say that all these award shows are kind of silly, and it's more of an insider thing for them in the industry, and to us, sort of who cares, who wins, who doesn't. Maybe if your favorite artist wins, you're like, yay. If they don't, you're like, oh, I can't believe they screwed him. Then like 2 hours later, you go on with your life. Tweeting about it.
And I mean, the thing is, like, I don't want people to take away as like, oh, we don't like all the artists that ever won or crap artists. No,
I don't even know who won.
Some artists that I've actually liked and enjoyed listening to, they won Grammys, and it's like, oh, cool, they won, but it's not like, oh yeah, blah blah, or oh, they got screwed. It's like, okay, yeah, they won, cool.
I don't think
it's not. I wasn't listening to them before they after they got their Grammy. I was listening to them before the fact of anything, or even before I even knew that they were up for a Grammy.
Because somebody is watching or listening to this, and that's the takeaway. My best advice is, calm your tits, okay? Because we're just taking a piss out of this, okay? A lot of artists and musicians that I personally enjoy and like, I know for a fact have won. And I've been nominated multiple times, and they're all happy, and they go up there and make music. We're just taking the piss out of this for a second, but what we personally feel is kind of silly. Yeah, you're welcome to disagree with us if that's how you feel. If these award shows mean something to you, that don't mean anything to us. But the thing I love the most, though, when they do those speeches, and sometimes like people will take them and put them on YouTube, and it again, just because the whole ritual of it seems dumb to me. It's really funny when they go all over the top. This means so much to me. And then they always start with the first one. I want to thank God. I want to thank Jesus, number one. Yeah. I want to see, if you lose, do you go into first of all, I want to blame God for this. I've been praying for you all day long and I got nothing on it. Screw you. I'm become Satanist now. I'm gonna worship Satan now. That's what you get, Jesus. You didn't give me that stupid little trophy. And I did.
But I mean, I don't know. It's pretty stupid. Like I said, how some people look at it, some artists take it, and how upset they get, and how some of them just don't care. I think what the Grammys should do, in a sense, is represent, like I've said, represent those artists that have done something for the music business, have been around or done whatever. I'm sure they're, like I said, we're not watching the Grammys, not any of that stuff, but I know they're doing a tribute to David Bowie. He's been around forever. He's been doing all this stuff, and he died. And I said I was going to do a tribute to him, and I will soon enough. It's coming. Playing stuff. Unfortunately, some stuff didn't work out, so I couldn't do it this time.
Scheduling conflicts.
But they're doing a tribute to David Bowie, and maybe Lemmy or whatever else. Like I said, we're not watching it, so I really don't know what's exactly happening on that. But I know it's like the Foo Fighters, or part of Nirvana, which is Chris Novoselic, Dave Grohl, and Pat Schmier with Beck doing a tribute to David Bowie, which is like, okay, cool. I don't really know Beck was any in that kind of same genre or did any of the stuff that Bowie did. He's a big enough
name that it'll give him a draw.
But Beck has kind of done a bunch of weird stuff too sometimes. Yeah. So I guess, take that as okay, whatever that works. But I know Nirvana did appreciate Bowie because in their Unplugged album, Unplugged New York or whatever, they did a Bowie song, Man Who Sold the World. And they said, oh, this is a David Bowie song, one of our, whatever.
Whenever
so I know that. Beck, I'm not too sure on, but still, at least I do appreciate, I do appreciate the fact that the Grammys are giving a segment, however long it is, to one of the fallen heroes, in a sense, of the music industry, and I think that's what they should do, not give out, crap awards to a bunch of baby people.
Whatever, Justin Bieber killed it. Just a quick side, when you were talking about when do the in memoriam stuff about people who died and stuff, a lot of times they will lump musicians in that, it might be that they were fans and it makes sense. A lot of times I just think they kind of put names together. I remember when I had again, we mentioned we don't like Metallica, but which one has kind of special Metallica or something? It may have been a decade ago. Yeah, actually, it was a while back
when they were actually somewhat big.
Yeah. Well, yeah. and I had Kiefer Sutherland was there, and Avril Lavigne was there performing Metallica song. So it was like stuff that doesn't really make any sense. Like, when you first look at what do they have to do with any of that? They don't really have anything to do with it, but they were big names at the time that could put in a lineup for it. So a lot of times that's also what influences it. Not saying anything about Beck or whatever. No, it might make perfect sense to put him in there. Yeah. But often the names, it's more like about you're a big enough name to get people to tune in.
Yeah, I mean that could be it too. I'm not too sure why they did that arrangement. I mean, Beck probably was influenced by Bowie. I have nothing against Beck. I do like some of his songs, some of his music he's done. So it's not like, oh well, I hate Beck. It's like no, I actually do like some of the stuff he does. I just don't know what the representation of what has Beck done or any of that towards Bowie's music. Did he play with Bowie? He's just a fan of Bowie. He's like, yeah, I would like to do this. It's cool. I don't care. Yeah,
it might have just been like, hey, we're doing something.
I mean, no, I think it's cool that they're doing that. And hey, steps up. He wanted to do something, whatever. I'm actually kind of jealous of him because he gets to play with the ex-members of Nirvana. My idols, and in a sense, my influence for being in the music business, in a sense. So I mean, yeah, I'm kind of jealous there, but whatever.
When the Grammys do something like that, when awards ceremonies do things like that, like I said, it shows probably the purpose of what they are. They are to honor those within that business, that are within that field, the performers at least. Like we talk about the backstage people, the ones who who really put it together and hold it all together, but it's about the performance over there, and I got no issues with that. Do what you gotta do, but I can't take it it's more seriously than it really needs to be, because some people say like, and that's what it comes like serious, like why do people care about which demographics or who's represented in these awards? They'll say like it's a good indication of where society is at. I just don't buy that at all. Most of us within society, the vast majority of the lowly masses that we are, we don't give a shit about who wins these awards. Do you care whether or not who wins best artist? Personally, I don't care.
Here's the difference. Me and you, we don't care.
Well, we don't care. But
here's the thing:
it doesn't affect us.
Me and you, we don't care. We aren't affected by it. We have a different opinion than a lot of other people. Unfortunately, there are a bunch of people out there. I think they're idiots most part. There are a lot of people out there who actually do give a crap about it. They pray for the artist to do it, and they beg and plead, and they send letters and whatever to the Grammys, and they do to the Oscars, and they blog and they do all this work, and they think it's doing something, but it's not.
But they see it as like a social reflection of something greater, which it's not.
Yeah, but the thing is, they see that. So we keep saying, oh well, it's not like anyone cares. The fact is, there are people who do care. It's just we don't. And it's sad because I think me being a producer and audio engineer, musician, and all that stuff, I think I should have somewhat of a semblance or a care for the music business and what's happening in there. But I could give a crap less of what's happening with all these pop artists and all this stuff and all this drama. I'd rather deal with recording the artists and dealing with backstage stuff that does with the music, putting out the entertainment, putting out the music, not who's dating who, or why is this artist going to Grammy and this one's not, and and blah blah blah, or why Leonardo DiCaprio keeps getting snubbed by the Oscars.
It's a conspiracy, I say.
It's just, I could care less. I think it's funny I keep bringing it up because I'm just poking at it, but it's not. I can care less about it. I mean, other people, not other artists, but I mean other people in society, they do go out of their way, and it's sad the fact that me and you are so disconnected in that sense. And then
are we disconnected though? In that sense, are we the ones that are disconnected, or are they the ones that are disconnected? Because, like I said, I don't see it as a reflection of society. I don't see the fact that some might say, "Oh, you're not putting together all the pieces. Everything is an embodiment of the greater social structure." But no, it's really not.
That's the thing we're disconnected in the sense that we don't follow Twitter and we don't follow Facebook and whatever all the other social media junkies out there.
The only thing we tweet is our podcast.
Yeah, we have a Twitter account, which is just our podcast. We do. I have a Facebook account. I have it because I had to do it for a project in college, and I just haven't gotten rid of it. I put some stuff up every once in a while, but it's anything. It's just stupid photos or something stupid. And so we are disconnected in that sense because nowadays everyone is connected through the internet, some sort of social media, some sort of something. And that's what I'm saying. It's sad that we're disconnected that way when we are doing something like this, the podcast that's about the music industry and about music in general. And me being a producer and recording whatever, audio engineer, I should be kind of in that to understand all that.
The truth be told, a large reason why we do this podcast is really more for us than it is for anybody else. So if somebody enjoys it, someone listens to it, that's great. We love you guys. But the reality is we're doing it for ourselves. Put our opinions, because like I've said in numerous episodes, you and I have had these conversations for years. This is just the first time we started putting a microphone to us.
Yeah.
But as far as the connected and disconnected, we can have a whole conversation about that. How many people are putting their lives on the internet? How many people are going? It seems that the things that are considered important, the things that get headlines, how much of it is really just manufactured by people who live in this sort of cyber bubble, and you think that the things that the blogs you go to, the websites you go to are sort of indicative of something greater, when really it's just that one niche bubble that you're in.
Yeah.
So, but none of that really matters as far as who wins a stupid statue at the end of the day. I don't think that it should matter. I don't think it does matter outside of your own interest. Look, a movie can do well that I think is crap. A movie can do badly that I think is good. And I can personally care and say, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean like the movie industry is out to get me. It doesn't mean that the movie industry is at its best if all the movies I like are doing well. It doesn't mean anything. It just means it is what it is. It is where it is. Society, it's a small segment of society. It is not the greater reflection of society's worth. That's my whole thing. And I think a lot of people they'll take something like the Grammys and they'll use that as a hallmark, as a blueprint to define where society is at. When in reality, I think it works the other way around. The Grammy is just a small little dot in what's happening, what's trending. What's trending right now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't reflect anything. Your life is still your life. Your life isn't affected by it. That's all. Just don't take it too seriously. Take it for what it is. It's a fun 1 hour thing. Well, maybe it's not a fun 1 hour thing for you if you really hate it. It's a 1 hour to 2 hour thing that happens and it doesn't really matter. That's the only thing. Don't be too serious on that. Don't be too serious about the Academy Awards.
And that's the thing is I think most of these awards are more of a party for the celebrities and people who show up, because after the awards, what do? They have after parties, so many different places, and that's where to be. That's the thing to do. So it's all these things. I think it's just a social gathering for the rich and famous and those
and for us
to snub each other, and for us layman, simple little people to be like, oh, well, that's messed up. This person should have won or whatever. So, but anyways. We can carry on this conversation so many different ways and so many different things. And I think what we've done is we actually brought up a couple different topics that we could carry on to a later time.
We'll piecemeal more into this. We'll definitely get into some of the stuff, especially some stuff we talk later on about the bubble people put themselves in, and even like how music gets affected. Because you can definitely fall into a subcategory, music culture, and think that that's somehow indicative of something larger than it is, because you get lost in it and then you can't see the forest for the trees. And this, I think, is just maybe a more poppy reflection of that. But that's pretty much that's where we stand on this topic. If you will watch the Grammys, don't tell me who won. I'll read about it on Twitter. Other than that, you guys have a good day. Take care. Good night.